And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And this week, unfortunately, I think we're all going to have to go in for a little bit of surgery.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit. You know, nothing too big. I mean, hearts aren't that big, right? They're kind of small in your body.
Just don't go see your boss with a bad heart.
Yeah, or don't go see anyone that's going to give you a heart attack. Or don't
just stay home.
Or just don't even go to your favorite sporting event in the hopes that you are going to have a heart attack.
Just stay home, lock the doors.
Listen to some calming music.
Maybe listen to our podcast.
Yeah, that will make your heart boil. Anyway, but this week is kind of a different episode. It takes it takes a lot out of you. It really does, because you look at the Simpsons and the Simpsons family in general as someone like, oh, they're gonna live forever. Which, you know, in season 4, I mean, they've been around long enough where it's kind of like, okay, they made it to season 4. They could go on, and now we're in season 32, and you realize, man, you know, if Homer just had his heart attack and died back in season 4, we wouldn't be this far, but I'm glad we are, because it gives us a lot to talk about.
Yes.
But yeah, this episode, season 4, episode 11, Homer's triple bypass. He has a triple bypass surgery.
Yes, he does.
Now, it's funny to think about, because this is already the second time within 4 seasons Homer has almost died.
Yeah, but this time it was more his doing and not a chef's doing.
Yeah, right? Although
this one he could control. The first one he couldn't.
You know, I like how there's sometimes aspects of the show where, okay, Homer can have a heart attack and die. Homer could eat a poisonous blowfish and almost die. But he could fall down the Springfield Gorge and survive.
Not even with a second thought.
Exactly. Which, it almost makes Homer dying of a heart attack be like, well, of course he could survive a heart attack. He survived falling down a gorge.
But as we'll get to later for the April Fool's Day episode, maybe after that episode he didn't really survive.
Yeah. All right, so the air date for this one, December 17th, 1992. And next week is Christmas. And we'll be here for you guys next week.
Yes.
Well, the episode would be here for you next week. It's not quite Christmas yet as you're listening to this. Chalkboard gag. Oh, sorry, recap. Let's do a recap first. Homer must get a bypass operation, but is only able to afford the cut-rate doctor, Nick Riviera.
Hello, everybody.
The B is for bargain. We'll tell you what that's to in a minute. All right, so the chalkboard gag. Coffee is not for kids.
Dude, I love this chalkboard gag so much because of the detail they put into this chalkboard gag.
It almost reminded me of, you know, Fry being all jittery with his coffee, but Bart's all jittery writing this on the board. And yeah, coffee is definitely not for kids, but unfortunately these days you'd be surprised how many. Now I can't guarantee that they're drinking coffee, but like I'll go to the convention center for a Comic-Con, and oddly enough the same weekend of Comic-Con they're usually doing this like girls either beauty pageant, dance competition, something along the lines, and there's these girls like 10, 12 years old lining up at Caribou for something, and I'm like, really? Kids?
They probably sell hot chocolate.
They do. I mean, they do. They sell hot chocolate smoothies and stuff like that. But it just makes me think, I'm like, are kids really lining up for coffee? I mean,
probably.
Come on. This is ridiculous. Did they learn anything from The Simpsons that coffee is not for kids?
I do love the fact by like the last line, it's just like scribbles. Because he's so hyped up on the caffeine.
Now, just to let everyone know, caffeine really, I mean, maybe you guys know out there, let us know, Simpsons fans. Does coffee make you super jittery where your hands like literally shaking while drinking? I mean, I guess I only drink 1 cup a day, so it's not absolutely crazy.
I don't drink a lot of caffeinated stuff anymore.
Yeah, so I guess I don't think it ever made me, I mean, caffeine actually made me crash more than it did get all hyped up and jittery.
Because usually, like, the caffeine will spike your, levels of whatever, gives you that, like, not adrenaline, but like gives you that boost, but then it's going to be a hard crash. Like, that's what a lot of energy drinks do. They don't really sustain you through the day. It boosts you and then it crashes you. So,
And as Bart jumps out of the school again, Robert found the green sidewalk. So
again.
So I'm telling you, this has to go on for a certain amount of time, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you when it goes away, because I want to know kind of when the animators stopped making green sidewalks.
Yeah.
And then Robert, you also pointed out to me that Lisa Sachs, when she gets home, is blue. It's actually blue in the classroom as well,
which is weird because in the show it's like gold or bronze.
Yeah. So once again, hand drawn. It's I mean, unless there was
something... but here's the thing: when she's in the school playing it, I get that but I get that it's hand drawn, but then they didn't make it blue in the show.
But at least they made it continuity wise that it's blue in the classroom, blue when she gets home. But look at it like this: we all know Marge has a station wagon, but funny enough, so here's a funny story, and we'll get to it every season, obviously, but I just watched an episode from season 7, and the sedan is still pulling into the driveway.
Interesting.
So we're gonna keep you guys updated to let you know when they finally made the switch to Marge's
because I know eventually, I think it was after the movie came out, when they started doing their opens again, they would have Marge, Maggie, and Abe in the car, but I don't know if that was the station wagon. My other question, when you see it driving, like before they cut to the shot of Maggie and Marge, is that the station wagon?
I don't know.
Never noticed.
We never see the whole car, but I mean, also once again, Maggie's
no, you do because it makes the turn.
Ooh. Good, you're right. Okay, we're gonna keep an eye out for that, guys. The next episode, we'll know. Well, maybe not next episode. Well, probably 2 episodes from now, we'll notice. We'll look out for that, you guys. So, couch gag. We get a bunch of mini Simpsons running in and jumping up on the couch. I don't know how they made the leap to get up on the couch. I mean, I guess they're kind of like Ant-Man.
They climbed. Yeah, no, they climbed each other.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they all just jumped up on the couch.
Yeah, maybe. But, like, I think Maggie got helped up by, like, Lisa or Bart.
Yeah. Well, when you're that tiny.
Yeah.
Wonder what happened. Do you think Dr. Frink got a shrink ray out and shrunk him on the way in?
No, it's the multiverse.
Oh, right.
All the objects are big, but the people are tiny.
Right. So we're just getting couch gags from other universes now. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I like it. I like where your head's at. That's actually a good pull.
I had just watched the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer before recording this, so
yeah.
So this episode, I love the beginning of this episode. Not as much as our next episode, but definitely this episode. We get Cops in Springfield, which is obviously a parody of the show Cops. And the song for the theme song for Cops in Springfield is Bad Cops.
Do you want to know the lyrics? I got the lyrics.
In a second. Okay. Bad Cops is the theme song, is a parody of the theme song Bad Boys for the show Cops.
Yep.
So what do we got for lyrics?
Okay. So we got bad cops, bad cops, bad cops, bad cops. Springfield cops are on the take. But what do you expect for the money we make?
Oh, God.
Whether in a car or on a horse, we don't mind using excessive force.
Yeah.
Bad cops, bad cops. Yeah, that's some good lyrics, especially on Springfield.
Yeah. I would like to know how much the cops make in Springfield, because aren't most police stations funded through the state?
Well, yeah,
or like the city, depending on because there's state cops and there's city cops.
Yeah, so the city cops are probably sponsored by the city cops.
Yeah, so I love during the intro or whatever, or get a montage of the show. We see the cops watching the show Cops in Springfield.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess there are other cops in Springfield.
Maybe.
Well, no, there'd have to be, because if those 3 cops are watching the show about cops in Springfield.
But maybe they're watching an episode of themselves.
No, because the title of the episode was Bad Cops Springfield.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they can't be watching themselves.
No. I mean, but we see in the trailer that it's not themselves; it's other cops.
Yeah. And then we get the arrest of Jasper.
What
and
did he get arrested for?
Well, he had a knife, gun, brass knuckles, and a grenade all hidden in his beard.
Yeah.
So he's smuggling weapons.
Oh, he's a weapon smuggler?
Yes.
Ooh. Bad
and then
Jasper.
And then we get a shot of Wiggum and Eddie and Lou shooting at a mummy.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happened. And then we cut back to them at the police station watching Itchy and Scratchy hitting each other with bats, which is a scene from Field of Screams.
Yep, that was the episode where Marge got involved with
yes.
Itchy and Scratchy.
Yes. So then, and then part of the montage, we see them using the police helicopter to watch an outdoor movie. And I'd like to point out, helicopters are very loud machinery. There is no way they'd be able to hear the movie.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've never been to an outdoor, like, drive-in theater.
Oh, you never have? Well,
no.
Okay, so there are two ways that outdoor movie theaters do their listening. The first is through regular speakers.
Yeah.
The second is actually through your FM radio station.
So I suppose, but I feel like in 92, I don't know.
Well, FM transmitters are easier to use. That way people can stay in their car and not have to roll down their windows.
I feel like there's also other outdoor venues that have like where you park is where the speaker is.
Yep, they have those too. So I mean, the one I know I went to in Minnesota was an FM radio deal.
Okay.
And it was the worst experience ever because after watching the movie, because I didn't have my engine running, I just had my battery running to listen to the movie. Yeah. And then we turned it off to go to the bathroom after the movie was over, came back to the car and my car wouldn't start. We had to get it jumped because the battery got tanked from watching a movie.
So if you're going to go to an outdoor venue, don't go see one with the FM.
Yeah.
Well, I can definitely see why outdoor theaters are not a big thing anymore. I mean, they're more of a novelty now.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to go with if they're not doing the FM, there's no way in hell anybody's going to be able to hear it. And they are watching Space Mutants. And we don't know which one it is. I'm going to go with maybe number 1 because it's an outdoor theater.
You think that it's a retro outdoor theater? They show the old movies? Oh.
Yeah. So then we find out that Reverend Lovejoy lives next door to Snake because the cops come over and they bust down Lovejoy's door by mistake. And he's like, "Hey, you got the wrong house." And he's like, "Which house are you looking for?" And the house they're looking for is 742 Evergreen Terrace, which eventually becomes the Simpsons number. So I'm wondering if the writers just don't remember what they used for street numbers. Because clearly we know the Simpsons live next to Ned Flanders, not Reverend Lovejoy.
Yeah.
And we've seen Reverend Lovejoy take his dog for a walk because his dog likes to do number 2 on the Flanders lawn because Lovejoy hates Flanders.
So here's the thing. Everyone in the Simpsons universe apparently lives on on Evergreen Terrace. All the characters live on Evergreen Terrace. Their address just keeps shuffling.
Yeah, and as we all know, the Simpsons live at 1049 right now.
Yep.
Why does Snake have so many cows?
Maybe he's running an illegal butcher or a meat house or something.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Also Snake's license plate has, it reads ex-con.
Yep. You see, you barely see it. So when he busts out of the garage to drive away, just out of the corner, you see his license plate and it's ex-con.
Oh my God. I love when Wiggum calls in because this is the second time this has happened.
He's like,
when Bart did the ride along.
Yep. It's like, this is Papa Bear. Put out an APB for a male suspect driving a car of some sort, heading in the direction of the, that place that sells chili. Suspect is hatless. Repeat, hatless.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, though, that last descriptor is very good. Well, I guess you actually want to give that to Scripter because, he could put a hat on. And if he was wearing a hat...
But it's always like their last known appearance, like wearing a gray hoodie or even, look at any good criminal that runs away, changes their appearance halfway.
That's true.
Look at like Jason Bourne. When he's like running from the cops all the time, he's always changing his appearance because everyone knows what his appearance currently looks like. So
correct. So now we cut to the Simpsons house and Homer is watching Cops and he's eating in bed. And the items he is currently in bed with are a turkey leg off a turkey, which is also in bed with him. Pizza, which I've eaten pizza. I've eaten pizza in bed. Spaghetti, which no, he's got some diet cola to drink, which is kind of weird. Granted, diet cola is worse for you than regular cola, which kudos to the writers for putting in diet cola then.
Yeah.
Cake and fondue. That's a pretty big bed.
Yep. Well, it's probably a queen size bed.
Yeah. So Marge walks in and she sees him, eating everything, and she's worried about Homer's heart. Rightfully so. And as Homer is eating a piece of turkey, he has issues digesting it, and he has to do the chest thump to get it down.
Yep.
So Homer is as a pig, as we know. So we cut to the next morning where we see Maggie feeding the dog her food with her pacifier, and there is a crack in the wall behind Maggie.
Now that's been there for a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever fix it.
No, but they probably should. I feel like,
Well, if it's just a crack in the drywall, who cares?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
It's not in the foundation.
But you probably don't want to see a crack in your wall.
But don't forget, The Simpsons, we don't know how they make their money.
Yes.
But we do, sort of.
Well, we learned that, we'll learn in the future how much money they actually have in their bank account. So. Yes. So Bart and Lisa are eating breakfast. No, kids.
I don't think you ever did this to me. I know you did the, hey, do you know what my favorite food is? And I go, what? Seafood? And then you go, seafood.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anyone do this one besides Bart, but Bart tells Lisa there's a train wreck and asked if she would like to see the victims. And
why would she fall for this? He's not reading a newspaper. There's no newspaper near her or near them.
Yep. And so Lisa says yes, and Bart shows her a mouthful of chewed up food. And Lisa says that's gross. So Bart says, well, let's bury them at sea. And then he just scrapes the food out of his mouth into Lisa's bowl. It's so great. But I also want to say, before Bart actually scraped the food into Lisa's bowl, we see a shot, and looks very colorful, like blobs of colorful, like rainbow colors. And I'm like, what the hell are they eating? Oh, maybe oatmeal, like colorful oatmeal?
Yeah, colorful oatmeal.
Colorful oatmeal. Oh, either that or the other thing I was thinking was, how, okay, so some Lucky Charms commercials, how they're filmed is they actually have the marshmallows and the cereal separated to show off the marshmallows.
Correct.
So I was like, well, maybe that's what this is. Like cereal on the bottom, colorful marshmallows on the top. But normally when you pull that out of a box, they're all mixed together.
Correct.
Yep. And so Lisa starts screaming, and Homer, is right behind her, and Homer's like, oh my God, Homer's heart can't take it because Lisa's screaming about Bart dumping the food.
She's like, Dad! He's right behind her, and he's like, oh my God, my heart.
And he's like, ooh, bacon. So this whole beginning of the episode, man, we're just leading up to Homer's heart attack. Yep. And so Marge says she has a surprise for Homer. And he imagines it's a roasted pig that tells Homer the best meat's in the rump.
See, I don't think we would know where the best meat on a pig is. I don't know, whatever bacon is made of, that's the best part.
It's their belly.
Okay.
Bacon from their belly.
Okay, so that's the best part of the pig for me, because that's about the only pig I eat is bacon.
Gotcha. And his surprise is oatmeal.
Oatmeal can be good.
But, Homer sarcastically accepts the oatmeal. He's like, oh, okay. Oh, there's a bug in it. And then dumps it in the sink. And then next shot is Homer eating breakfast, and Bart points out that there's a bug on his food. And Homer's like, it just eats it anyway.
Well, it's bacon and it looks like bacon and eggs.
Yeah, that's a good breakfast.
So, yeah, just pick the fly off. I mean, whatever.
Now this next scene, we've all been here. I feel like we've all been here, where there's a semi-truck
you've crashed you've crashed a semi-truck?
No. I'm just saying being stuck behind like with those, like those trucks you see like oversized.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
And we've all been there killing people. And then so we see a semi-truck moving the birthplace of Edgar Allan Poe, and Homer's stuck behind it and starting to get road rage. Mm-hmm. And he starts ramming the back of the semi-truck. Like,
your car would be totaled.
I don't think you should start ramming semi-trucks, Homer. No. And like how the weather vane falls up and just hits Homer's car. It's good.
And then he uses the windshield wipers. It's like, and gone.
I feel like if a weather vane hit your windshield, it would be stuck through your windshield.
Correct. Those things can get, I mean, they're metal. I mean, granted, maybe this one wasn't really like a metal one. Like maybe like aluminum or something.
And then we see Hans Moleman is actually the one driving the semi, which I know that Selma passed Hans Moleman to give him his driver's license back.
Yes.
But I don't think a trucking company would normally hire a Hans Moleman.
Probably not. He can't even see over the steering wheel.
I know. Come on. But it makes for a very good joke.
Yes.
And so Homer rams the semi so hard that Moleman loses his glasses.
Yep.
And, Homer, starts hearing his heart beating, in the same manner as the Tall Tale Heart, because he's, shoving off the Edgar Allan Poe house. So they're merging those two things together.
And Homer casually murders Hans Moleman because the truck, because he can't see, so the truck veers, it catches fire and goes over a cliff. And Homer just murdered Hans Moleman.
But we all know Hans Moleman is immortal.
We do know that. He's Hans Moleman.
Yeah.
And Homer, goes off the off-ramp to a service station. And so he pulls up, he tells the guy,
he's like, I keep hearing this horrible irregular thumping noise. It's your heart. And I think it's on its last thump. Whew, I was afraid it was my transmission.
God. Homer does not care for his health. We get it.
Yeah,
we get it.
But it is kind of funny though, because what was it, 2 seasons ago when they go to the Krusty the Aqua Park, and he realizes he's too fat for the tube. He actively tries to lose weight and become healthy. Obviously, it never lasted even after that episode. But we do know that Homer actually can have some.
Well, I feel like in that episode, it was more probably because of the embarrassment of getting stuck in the tube than anything. Like, nobody wants to get embarrassed. Like, I'm overweight. I know I need to exercise. I don't have any motivation. So if I got embarrassed in the manner that Homer did, I'd probably start losing weight. So, so then, the service attendant's son comes out and he's like... He asks about Homer, and the attendant goes, Billy, do you remember the old Plymouth that we couldn't fix? And the kid goes, we're going to sell him to Mr. Nicopopoulos? Billy is not a smart kid.
Nope.
So then we cut to the power plant. We see Burns is watching his monitors, and as he's watching Homer eat donuts on TV, he gets upset.
Well, he's like, look at that pig, stuffing his face with donuts on my time. That's right. Keep eating. Little do you know you're drowning ever closer to the poison donut. There is a poison one, isn't there, Smithers? No, sir. I discussed it with our lawyers, and they consider it murder. Damn those oily hides.
Yeah, that's definitely murder. Oh, that's such a great scene. And then, after him and Smithers have their back and forth, he turns back and now Homer is sleeping. So he tells Smithers to bring him Homer.
Yep.
So now we get to the fun part of the episode where Homer comes into the office and we get a picture-in-picture with his heart.
Yep.
And Burns is like, he's like, he yells at him and then he goes, well, maybe I'm being too harsh. And then he yells at him again. And then he slows down again, and then he calls him like an indignant fool or something.
Yeah.
He uses big words, and Homer's like, huh? And he's like, that means you're an idiot. And Burns is like, you're a guy who could really dig. And Homer's like, oh, a grade 4? And that is when Homer has his heart attack.
Yep.
And as before his like heart video goes out, we see it flash the club, diamond, heart, and spade, like the ones on playing cards, which I thought
was that like a reference to something? And then we see like the screen. It's really funny because it almost had the. Now, obviously, this came out in '92, and Black Mirror is now, but
yeah.
When in the TV show Black Mirror, if you guys have ever seen it, when it gets to the title card of Black Mirror, it has the TV screen crack, and it's really funny because that scene where Homer's heart fails and then you get the, it reminded me a lot of the Black Mirror intro.
I think it's supposed to be like, so the heart breaks, the TV kind of breaks. I think that just signifies that the heart is dead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the playing cards had any. Was that a reference to something?
I think it was just a gag.
Okay, yeah.
I think they were just being funny.
Gotcha. And so after Mr. Burns, yells at Homer, Homer's body collapses and his spirit rises out of his body. And Smithers was like, Mr. Burns, I think he's dead. Oh dear. Send a ham to his widow. Ham. And then his body goes back into it. Spirit goes back into his body. No, wait. He's alive. Oh, good. Cancel the ham. Don't.
So I'd like to point out two things in the scene. One, Smithers checks for Homer's pulse. Doesn't really do a good job of it because he clearly still had a pulse. Two, in the animation, if you watch very, very closely, Homer's foot as a ghost is still connected to his physical body.
Well, that's pretty good, pretty good play, because we know Homer, because I look at the scene the way it's played out. So his spirit comes out of his body, not quite all the way. Burns is like, oh, order a ham, and Homer's like, ooh, ham. So he's not physically disconnected from his body yet when Burns says that, and so he goes back in because he didn't quite make it to the afterlife.
Well, the animators did it that way to signify that Homer was still alive.
Oh,
that was actually
partially.
No, that's what the animators did.
Oh, okay. And so they load up Homer into an ambulance, and they're driving down the road, and they get to a deer crossing, and the driver's amazed that the deer knows how to, cross where the cross sign is.
Yes, that's a smart deer.
Isn't it really weird that deer always cross near the deer crossing signs? Because I was in St. Paul once, and I was driving by a deer crossing sign, and I actually saw a deer very close to it. It didn't cross, but it was near a deer crossing sign. I was like kind of amazed. I'm like, wow, the deer really do cross by these deer crossing signs.
Well, that's because I feel like deers have similar migratory paths.
Yeah.
So that's where a majority of them come out. So that's where they put the deer crossing sign.
Yeah. So now we get to the hospital and we get to see some patients in the ER. We get Jacques with his finger stuck in a bowling ball. I feel like Jacques should know better.
Yep.
Willie with a cast on his arms.
Yep.
Wrestling that wolf.
Maybe.
Jasper with his beard stuck in a bicycle. Getting chased by the cops. He's riding a bicycle to escape the cops, and he got his beard caught in it because it's very long. Akira with his hands stuck in a board.
Because he was trying to chop it.
Yep. Or punch through it.
No. If you look at his hand, it's open fisted in the board. He was trying to chop it.
All right. Apu with a gunshot wound. That's pretty standard. Of all these, that's probably the most standard one. And Sideshow Mel stuck in a cannon. Which
and I love how they try to fight. He's like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And they light it off. See? I told you it wasn't gonna work. How did he get stuck in there?
He's fat and it's a narrow cannon.
But Sideshow Mel is not fat. He's skinny.
I don't know. A narrower cannon than maybe they use. Okay, so I would say Sideshow Bob is bigger than Mel.
Correct.
Maybe. Oh no, that wouldn't make sense. I was gonna say maybe they use Sideshow Bob's cannon, but
also I guess if he's stuck, I was gonna say couldn't he just crawl out or couldn't they pull him out? But clearly he's really jammed in there.
Yeah. So Chief Wiggum is also in the hospital for lockjaw because he, tried biting a huge, gigantic sandwich.
I don't know.
And I like how Lou sticks his fist in Wiggum's open mouth. And then the bad cop theme plays again. Oh, that's good. And so we get a phone call at the Simpsons house, and Marge answers. She's like, "Oh my god," because she learns Homer has a heart attack, and we see Patty and Selma's like, "Oh my god, 50% off it," and they cut out the coupon. So clearly, Patty and Selma could care less that Homer had a heart attack.
They don't like Homer, so they don't really care.
Yeah. And so Hibbert is using the defibrillator on Homer, who he's like, more. Now, is he still passed out? Or why would they be using a defibrillator?
So first of all, and I've actually listened to a doctor's explanation on this scene in particular. If a person's heart is stopped, you do not use a defibrillator because it doesn't do anything. You want to do chest compressions because that's what's going to get the heart moving again. Heart compressions is CPR. So, and the weird thing is they actually had doctors on staff for this episode for, authenticity. And I think this is used more for laughs than anything.
Well, it's a defibrillator used for that. If it's not to jumpstart your heart. I thought that was the whole point of a defibrillator, was to jumpstart your heart. Because it sends electric current through your body into your veins.
It's after cardiac arrest, so you still have a pulse. But if you have a heart attack and your heart is actually stopped, it's not going to do anything. That's why you want to do chest compressions. It's not.
When do you use a defibrillator?
Right away. If you don't use it right away, it's going to be useless.
Oh, okay. That's why we needed a doctor on this episode. We should have got Dr. Nick. He would have been good for this episode.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? He doesn't know what he doesn't know what the knee bone is connected to.
Yeah. So Marge gets to the hospital, and Homer tells her that his whole life flashed before his eyes, and it's him as a baby, and somehow eating a slice of pizza. But it's kind of like Bart coming out of the womb and having a lighter.
Yeah. It's funny too because
these babies just get things.
It's funny too because Abe is there, and he's like, "Oh, little Homer." And then the nurse walks by after he sees him eating a pizza. Wait, how did he get that? And she's just like, oh.
And then we cut to him as a teenager, and he's singing in church with a really beautiful voice. And then puberty hits him, and his voice changes to the crackliness. And Abe's like, "Oh, shucks!" He thought he was going to make money off of Homer and singing.
I mean, he had a gorgeous voice.
Yep,
gorgeous voice.
And so Dr. Hibbert walks in, and Homer asks if he's out of the woods. And he quotes the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche by saying, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger." Which, I mean, I mean, funny enough, god damn, this would have been a great episode for Kevin Smith to be on after his heart attack. This would have been the perfect episode for having Kevin Smith guest. I didn't even think about this episode for that. Anyway, so Kevin Smith had a heart attack, and it was his, the Widowmaker was blocked, and he, survived. Obviously, he's still around. And, I mean, he became vegan, started exercising more and going. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it didn't kill him, but I feel like it's made his body stronger. He lost weight, he's exercising, he's doing a hell of a lot more than he had, to get the heart attack. So, I mean, it's kind of true, right?
Maybe.
Maybe a little bit. It depends on how you take your heart attack would be if you take it as if you better change your life, or you take it as, I was lucky, I'm just going to keep doing what I used to be doing. And Hibbert says Homer's heart attack has made him as weak as a kitten. And Hibbert starts annoying Homer.
It's patting him on the head, tickling him, poking him. Stop that. Stop.
Yep.
And Homer's too weak to fight. Well, and that's the thing, too. If you have a major medical issue, right away, you are going to not be strong at all.
Yep. I mean, I was out for 2 weeks after my hernia surgery. I couldn't do anything.
That's because you're weak, because I was only out for 3 days after my hernia surgery.
I'm not saying out from work or something. I was just I couldn't really do much because of the pain and the stitches and whatnot.
We must have gotten 2 different surgeries because I literally was doing stuff through it. Now, granted, I actually listened to the doctor and did not go up and down stairs for a month as much as I could because my job actually, I had to go up a few steps to get to my job for one of my jobs. But I was doing stuff. I wasn't pushing it, but I was fine.
Well, yeah. But, so Hibbert starts playing with Homer's cheeks, and Homer tells Homer to remember his hippopotamus oath.
So obviously, he meant the Hippocratic Oath, which is do no harm.
I like the hippopotamus oath better.
What is the Hippopotamus Oath?
Be lazy and sit in the water and do nothing.
Hippopotamuses are vile creatures and very.
Oh, they are. But if you ever go to a zoo and see a hippopotamus, they're literally just being lazy and sitting in their water.
Yeah,
I've never seen a hippopotamus do anything at a zoo. Probably because there's nothing to do at a zoo where there's a lot of things to do in the wild.
Yeah.
And now Homer's up and they're doing a body scan of Homer and everything's lit up green because they put the radiation dye in him. Or so they thought.
Oh, God.
Nope.
No, they did not.
No, they didn't. It was actually the green dye was from the radiation that Homer got from being at the power plant.
So radiation poisoning.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things wrong with Homer.
Yeah. How is he not dead? Just because of the radiation poison alone, he should be dead.
Yep. But that's why he doesn't have hair, because radiation makes your hair fall out.
No, he doesn't have hair because he pulled it all out because of the kids.
Right. No, maybe that's why it doesn't grow back.
There you go. So now we go to Hibbert's office, and he's like, I have a new fat body analysis test. I'm gonna hit your belly. We're gonna see how long it jiggles, and then I'm gonna stop it. So then he hits Homer's fat, and it just jiggles and jiggles, and Homer's like, "Woo! Look at it go!" It's almost hypnotic.
That's so awesome. But this isn't the only time that we get to see Homer's jiggling as a test.
Yes.
So we'll get to that in the future, but it's really fucking funny.
So now we're in Hibbert's office, and Hibbert, explains the procedure to Homer and Marge, and Homer's like, "Okay, could you dumb it down a little bit, Doc?" And then he explains it again. He's like, "Just a little bit more." And Hibbert's like, "And screw this, I'm going to talk to your wife now." God, Homer is... Because, Hibbert's like, "I'm going to cut you open and...
tinker with your... What was it?
Tinker with your ticker."
Tinker with your ticker.
And Homer's like, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Lord. So Hibbert tells the Simpsons that it's going to cost him $30,000 for surgery. And I love how Homer has another heart attack. So Hibbert's like, actually, it's going to be 40. Now, I did look this up. And I don't know where this number actually lines up, but the average cost of a heart bypass surgery is roughly $75,000. Now, I don't know if that's with insurance, without insurance, but that's in the US, and comparable to other countries, that is a very high amount for a heart bypass. Now, for a triple heart bypass, that's probably going to be even more, I think.
I think the Simpsons need to migrate to Canada and, get it done.
Get it
for free.
Well,
right?
It's not free. It's cheaper. It's like most procedures in other countries with universal healthcare is about the third of a cost as here. So in Canada for $40,000, you're looking at like $13,000 instead.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
Yeah. So now Homer and Marge are at home and they're going over their finances, and Marge's like, "Well, we have $70 in her checkbook," and Homer's like, "Are you sure we didn't accidentally cash one of those 40,000 checks?"
Accidentally cash. Yeah.
Well, funny enough, our parents had $18,000 put into their bank account, and our mom has no idea where it came from. And dude, she hasn't touched the money yet. So, and I've actually heard about this happening to other people where it's a scam where people put the money into your bank account and then you use it, and then the bank realizes that it's not your money, and then you got to pay it all back, and then you lose even more.
Well, you heard about during the very, very first round of stimulus checks where someone got, you know how they were doing the small business loans?
Yeah.
So, like a regular everyday Joe got a small business loan just put into their bank account.
Yeah.
Like $350,000 just dropped.
Which he wasn't supposed to, was he?
Well, no. It was
yeah.
pure accident. But he had to obviously give it back. He did the right thing. He called the IRS and was like, yeah, so I don't think this is right.
Because now here's the thing: if you don't call the IRS,
whatever happened to the Monopoly card that said "Bank Air in your favor"? I mean, whatever happened to that card? We need to pull that card out of the box and start using.
To be fair,
kind of like the get out of jail free. Like if I ever got arrested, I'm just keeping one of those get out of jail free cards in my wallet.
See how well that works.
I won this in Monopoly, man.
Yeah, and then they're going to put you in a white box.
Well, that's better than jail, right?
I don't know about that. But it's better to call the IRS and tell them that you have this than them finding out and then you having to pay it back after you spent it.
Yes.
So if you accidentally get money in your bank account, do not spend it. Make sure it's supposed to be there.
Yep.
And then spend it. So Marge, asks about health insurance through work. Through Homer's work, and Homer's like, we gave that up for a pinball machine, and Marge does the dough.
Yeah, I know. She says dough. That's crazy.
Are they unionized or are they I thought they were unionized.
I thought they were. So the Lisa dental plan episode, I thought they were in a union because they go on strike for the dental plan. It's really.
But isn't Homer like the head of the union?
Yeah.
So yeah, this tracks. So then Homer, says, "Oh, the U.S. healthcare is only second to Japan, and Canada, and Great Britain. Well, all of Europe." And God, this line is so true as it was in '92 as it is today. And I think, and in terms of like not like healthcare, but like the system that is in place.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, the healthcare providing. The provisions in the U.S. are very good. We have very good doctors here in the U.S. It's the system that is in place that is absolute garbage.
Yep.
So now we go to the Merry Widow Insurance Company.
Ooh, you want to know what their logo is?
What?
So it's actually Happy. Happy Widow Insurance Company features a neon sign with a stick figure woman who goes from grieving over a grave to dancing over it and holding money.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they go inside. Homer goes inside and he's talking to the insurance agent. And he's like, well, here for heart attacks, you crossed out 3 and wrote 0. And Homer's like, I thought that said brain hemorrhages.
So I have a question. Who filled out the insurance form? Marge, his doctor.
Homer did.
But why would he write 3 for under heart attacks and then put 0? Was he like, oh wait, I probably shouldn't tell him I had heart attacks.
Yeah. Homer's dumb. He would do something like that. And so the insurance agent's like, oh, well, everything seems to good. And Homer's like gloating about, whatever. And the guy's like, well, you still have to sign. He's like, oh, and right as he's about to sign, he has another heart attack. And the guy's like, we can't let you sign. And Homer's like, nope, that's an H. And like, he's trying to sign as the paper's pulled away.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, that's great. So, he comes to in the hospital and, Hibbert, and he sees Hibbert and he goes, oh, I went to a wonderful place filled with fire and brimstone. And there were all these guys there in red pajamas sticking me with pitchforks in my butt. So Homer went to hell. So Bart's been to hell. Homer's been to hell. And
Lisa was almost in hell.
Lisa was almost in hell.
With what was it? The Homer versus the Eighth Commandment?
Yes.
And she's like pictures her family in hell with her.
Yes. So then Homer, suggests to Dr. Hibbert that maybe he should buy a defibrillator. And I actually looked this up. A new small one, so like an at-home one, ranges from about $1,200 to $1,400. And I believe if you have health insurance, that might go down a little bit.
That's not even bad. Even if you have to buy it outright, that's actually not horrible for a medical device. Really.
Well, they're now. Now, granted, this is in today's time. So you got to look at it at $92. So I'm probably gonna guess between $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Back in Homer's time in 1992. So they've definitely, I'm sure they've gone down in price. And in today, I mean, they're mass produced in today's age. So Homer is like, okay, I need money. Where do I go?
The Jews. That's where you go.
No. He goes to Lovejoy first. He's like, I know I haven't been the best Christian. And he goes over and he's like, I know I fall asleep in church and do terrible things. Can I have $40,000? Clearly he gets kicked out. Then Homer goes to Rabbi Kristofsky and he's like, oh, I know I'm not Jewish.
I know I haven't been the best Jew.
Because technically Christianity is a continuation of Judaism.
I would say that's a good, yeah.
Because they do use the Old Testament as part of their teachings.
Yep.
So, and Homer's like, well, I rented Fiddler on the Roof. I will watch it. Can I have $40,000?
Oh, that was so good. I love that. And for those of you that don't remember, Rabbi Kristofsky was introduced in Like Father, Like Clown.
Yes.
And so if you haven't listened to our episode of that or watched that episode, go back and listen to it. And so then he goes to a Buddhist or Hindu temple.
I couldn't tell which one it was.
I almost thought Buddhist, but
because when
Lisa becomes a Buddhist, there is a Buddhist temple within Springfield. So yeah. I would maybe say
isn't
Buddhist.
Apu Hindu?
Yeah, but his temple's in his employee. That
lounge. Is true. That is true. So it's probably a Buddhist temple.
Yep. And then he's like, forget it. Didn't even want to go there.
Yeah.
And so Marge asks if he had any luck, and he's like, no. And shows Marge the rabbi gave him a dreidel, which he calls a droodle.
God.
That's pretty good. And he's playing with it. He likes it. And so then we get a commercial. Hi.
Well, but here's the thing. You skipped over the reason why he called it a droodle. Because Bart comes in, he's like, oh, what is that? And Homer's like, oh, the Jews call it a droodle.
Yeah. Which still isn't correct.
Correct.
And so then we get a commercial. Hi, everybody. We're like, oh, we all know what that means. Hi, Dr. Nick. And so we see Maggie's now sucking on the dreidel. It's like, you can get any surgery for $29.95.
$129.95.
Oh, sorry, $129.95. Get brain surgery and get a free Chinese finger trap. which after having brain surgery from Dr. Nick, you're probably not getting that finger trap off. Or you're not alive.
Either. Well, we do see they pan to a guy with a scar on his head with the finger trap. He's like, that's enough now, whatever your name is.
Yep. And so call 1-600-DOCTORB. The B is for bargain.
Now, I don't know if this is true, but I did read somewhere the original number that they chose was actually a real number.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
and it called
normally they do 555 numbers, so it's like
exactly.
Maybe
I don't
they
know
just
what
thought,
I don't know.
But I do think it's funny because we don't have it live yet as of this recording, guys, but we're going to have a phone number for you guys to call in and leave us, stuff, messages and whatnot. And we actually tried Doctor, but it was not available anywhere in the country. So kind of sad. We were hoping to use that one.
Yeah.
So Homer tells Marge they could do worse. And she says, how? And Homer replies, well, the dog could do the operation.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Well, I don't know. Would you rather trust your dog or Dr. Nick?
Your dog?
Yeah, exactly. And so, then we learned that Marge and Homer really haven't told the kids, anything. Like,
because he's like, oh, the dog could perform the operation. And Lisa and Bart are like, you're having an operation?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, when our mom got sick, and it was around when you and Shay got married, she told us a week, she didn't even wait a couple days after the wedding. She waited a week after the wedding.
For what?
To tell us that she was sick.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So honestly, I know her reasoning was she didn't want to ruin your guys' wedding.
Yeah.
But I would have preferred to know right away. Now, granted, it wasn't bad. She made it through is fine, but I'd rather be told right away than you waiting forever.
Yep. Yeah, and Homer's like, kids, I have something to tell you. And Marge's like, oh, homie, I don't know. This might upset them. Bart's like, nothing can upset us. We're the MTV generation. And Lisa's like, we feel neither highs nor lows. Really? What's it like?
Well, we technically are the MTV generation.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that assessment that we don't feel highs or lows, though.
I think they're almost referencing like Nirvana and a lot of the alt rock of the 90s, like Beck, Sonic Youth, all those type of those people.
Yeah.
And Bart's like, what if they botch it? Oh, wait, what was it? Okay, I actually have that one. Hold on.
Yes.
He's like, so he's like, oh no, what if they botch it? I won't have a dad. For a while. I mean, is he just assuming that Marge will remarry?
Well, yeah, but I do like the fact that Homer is performing a sock puppet show talking about, the surgery with Lisa and Bart, and the puppets he uses are Akbar and Jeff, which are characters from Matt Groening's weekly comic strip Life in Hell.
That was a good pull. I like it. I like it.
I do like the fact that, like, Homer's like, oh, do you understand what I'm talking about? And Lisa's like, are they going to do a coronary bypass on you?
And the little aorta fairy will. That was so good. I love Homer. And so Homer, confronts the kids and says, only bad people die. And Bart asks about Abraham Lincoln. And Homer lies to Bart and says Lincoln sold poisoned milk to school children.
Which is a reference to Abraham Lincoln's mother, Nancy, who died of milk sickness. And milk sickness is an illness you get by drinking milk of cows that have eaten the poisonous herb white snake root.
And I'm guessing that and maybe milk that hasn't been pasteurized correctly.
Maybe? I don't know.
Yep. And then we get the first iteration of bed goes up, bed goes down, bed goes up, bed goes down.
Oh my God, I love it. So then... That's great. So then we learn Ned is also in the hospital. He's in the same room as Homer. And Homer's like, oh, what are you in for? And he's like, oh, I'm donating a kidney and a lung. And Homer's like, oh, I'm in for my ticker. And Flanders is like, well, I'd donate that to you if I could, Homer. And Homer's like, shut up, Flanders.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so a kidney you could donate. I know that. I actually didn't know you could donate one of your lungs.
You can, there's a lot of things. You can donate, you could technically donate your heart as long as it's.
No, I mean, you can't donate your heart and survive.
Well, no.
That's what I was getting to. I wasn't getting to when you're actually dead. I'm saying.
Yeah, you can live with one lung. You can't do a lot, but you can live with one lung.
Man, that'd be hard to just give up for charity.
So, yeah, you could donate. Yeah, you can donate your lungs. You can donate your kidney. You can donate part of your liver. I guess you could donate. What's the one that doesn't do anything? Your gallbladder?
No, your appendix.
Oh, your appendix.
Because that just explodes and you can still live.
Luckily, mine hasn't exploded yet.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should really get appendicitis, but you can basically it's a thing in your body that literally does nothing.
Well, I feel like it's supposed to help with the filtering of toxins in your body.
Oh, maybe.
I think
But you can live without it.
Correct. So then Dr. Nick comes in. Hello, everybody. And I love, like... He introduces himself to Homer, and a guy over the loudspeaker is like, Dr. Nick Riviera, please go see the coroner. And Dr. Nick, he's like, I'm sick of seeing that guy. Well, maybe stop killing people, Dr. Nick. And I'm pretty sure they did that as a way to make Homer more nervous about the surgery.
Yeah.
So then, Nick talks to Homer, and then he's going to leave, and he opens the door in the paparazzi, and some guy's like, Dr. Nick, where are the bodies? He's like, close to the door. It's such a nice day. I think I'll go out the window.
And he jumps out of, what is it, a second story window?
Just something like that.
Just to get out of there.
Oh my God, it's so great. So, time passes and Ned is now praying. And
he's Dear God, thank you for Ziggy Comics, Little Baby Ducks, and Sweating to the Oldies, Volume 1, 2, and 4.
Not 3?
No, I want to know. I want to know what's on 3.
Maybe it's hot. Maybe it's like, scantily clad women.
Maybe.
Also, this does kind of tell us what Ned's age is, because he's sweating to the oldies.
But oldies so if he was, let's say, Homer's age, so born in the 60s, right? So oldies for the people that grew up in the 60s is the 30s?
I don't know.
I mean, our dad listens to what's considered the oldies, and he was born,
at this point, the music he listens to is considered ancient.
Oh, okay. So it's in the ancient section of the shop. And our music is now in the classical section.
Yeah. God, don't remind me. So, now Homer is scared. He decides to pray. And a nurse comes, hears him praying, shushes him, and points to a no praying sign.
Apparently she just missed out on Ned praying.
Yes. So now we cut to Sunday school, and we cut in as the teacher is saying, and that's why God causes train wrecks. What was she talking about?
I don't know.
So Lisa asks what happens if Homer dies, and the Sunday school teacher is like, well, if he's good, he will go to heaven and do whatever he likes. So Lisa imagines Homer in heaven on a cloud. Cloud goes up, cloud goes down, cloud goes up, cloud goes down.
That's an accurate portrayal of what Homer probably would be doing in heaven.
Yes. So, and as Lisa's thinking about that, we actually cut to the hospital where Homer's doing it again with bed. Bed goes up, bed goes down, bed goes up, bed goes down. So Krusty jumps into Homer's room, hey, and gives Homer a mild heart attack. And Krusty is like, what's wrong? Oh, it must be my grotesque appearance. And we learn now so we'll get into it in a second. So Homer asks Krusty why he's there, and Krusty is like, I'm here for my public service. And he goes, for my glug glug, vroom vroom, thump thump. So Krusty drank and drove and hit somebody.
Yep.
I don't know if that exact joke would really fly in today's standards.
It's still pretty standard today, but
yeah. Well, drunk driving's kind of a bigger deal now.
Yeah, it's been a big deal for probably ever. Yeah. But also for those of you guys that have never seen Patch Adams, which I believe, wasn't Patch Adams like 96, 97?
Dude, late 90s, early 2000s.
90s, yeah. So I know, like, making kids laugh, and like kids more or less, not grown-ups, but making kids laugh and have,
98.
Okay, so yeah. I mean, the clowns in hospitals is like an old thing. But they really did. I mean, Patch Adams was kind of the first. Oh, this would be the first portrayal of a clown in a hospital. But I bet Patch Adams was like watching this Simpson episode. Hey, that's a good idea. Let's do an entire movie about a clown in a hospital.
Well, Patch Adams is based off of a real person, and I'm pretty sure Patch Adams was alive in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
So
once again, the Simpsons might not have did it.
No. So Krusty then tells Homer that he's in the same club. And Homer says, oh, Krusty, you seem to be okay. And Krusty's like, he points to his face and he's like, this isn't real. It's not makeup. However, we do see him wash that off in later episodes.
Yep. Yeah.
So Krusty, either the Simpsons didn't realize this show would go on for forever, or they're like, they just said screw it, and they just let. And this is why I distrust the continuity in The Simpsons, because they go back on stuff from the early seasons.
Yep. Well, maybe now they're like, you know what? We need to, like, after like season 7, 8, or 9 or something, they're like, you know what? We are probably going to last 30 years. Let's not change things around as much.
Yep.
And so then we get Abe into the room, and he, doesn't seem to care about the possibility of Homer dying. He's like, they say the greatest tragedy is when a father outlives his son. I've never fully understood why that is. Frankly, I could see an upside to it.
What's the upside of outliving your kid?
I don't know. You get to stand over his grave and say, "Hi, I outlived you,"
and then die on his grave.
Exactly.
Oh,
and so Lenny and Carl bring Homer a get well soon card that happens to be the back of an emergency procedure sign that says "Do not remove." And so I was kind of looking at it, and there's some sort of steps labeled 1, 2, and 3 on the back of it.
Yeah, I noticed.
But all the
too.
lines are literally all gibberish, like
Yeah.
nothing written on. I kind of wish they would have made some sort of sign joke there, aside from the whole sign being a get well soon card.
Yeah.
And Carl says they had a hell of a time replacing Homer, and they replaced him with a brick on a string, which apparently Homer, all he has to do is pull this lever and everything goes well.
Yes.
And then we get Barney and Moe to come visit.
God,
and Barney's like, when I first heard about the operation, I was against it. But then I thought, if Homer wants to be a woman, so be it.
That's very inclusive of you, Barney.
Yeah. And Barney's like, I thought you were getting a sex change operation. I brought a giant jumbo thong bikini. And, Moe stuck a beer into the hospital, and Moe tells Homer, hey, that isn't a free beer. Which, come on, man, he gave Homer a free beer for plowing. He's given a lot of free beer away, but for a heart attack, can't give him a free beer.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And so now we get Lisa reading at the Springfield Journal of Cardiology, learning about the procedure. And Lisa got a cow heart. She basically was like, you know what? If I have to do this surgery, I'll do this surgery.
Well, it's fun. Well, she didn't know she was going to have to help.
I know.
No, the reason she was reading, because she told Marge it made her feel better. And then, Marge's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't. And then that's when Lisa pulls out the cow heart. And I like how Marge is kind of grossed out by it.
And that's what, in medical school for teaching people about the heart, cow hearts are what people use. Maybe that was back in the 90s, because that's what I heard. Maybe now they use real hearts, but cow hearts are so close to human hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of why they do testing on lab rats, because lab rats are the most like human bodies without actually testing on actual humans.
Well, usually for mice, it's more for medicine.
Yeah. And so Dr. Nick goes to the Springfield Medical Library to learn how to do the procedure. And then they're like, and then you crack open the ribs. Oh no, blood.
God, he's such a terrible doctor.
How did he even pass medical school?
He didn't. Didn't he go to some weird medical school that's
some
not even
college? Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't we learn he went somewhere that's not recognized as a medical school?
That I guess we'll have to wait for his future, a future episode, but I think so. And the video Nick is watching was taped over by a show of people who look like things. So we get the pumpkin guy, the coffee pot guy, some really great
broom guy,
the broom guy, yep,
the typewriter guy.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. I love that people that look like other things.
Yeah.
And so Homer tells Marge if he dies, he wants to be stuffed and put on a couch as a constant reminder of their marital vows.
So if you were possibly on your deathbed, would you tell Shay that?
Oh, that could be awesome. I'd love to be stuffed in. Well, I mean, I think I've jokingly said this about my dog. I'd love to get him stuffed and just have him put in the living room.
No, why would you want to bring that trauma?
Because
people who do that make me sick. I can't do that. Why would you do that?
No, well, okay, they did it in the the Kingsman. Remember, the dude had his dog stuffed and put in his bathroom or something.
Yeah, because he's a psychopath.
Okay, fine. And so Homer wants to tell the kids something to remember him by, but he can't think of anything because he's Homer. So he has Lisa tell him to tell Bart. Bart, the saddest thing about this is I won't get to see you grow up because I know you are going to turn out great, with or without your old man. And Bart's like, aw. And so then Homer has Bart come over here, tell Lisa that Lisa's adopted and doesn't like her, but not to worry. She's got a big brother who will look out for her.
That's such a Bart thing to do. It's funny, because that's, what Lisa has Homer say to Bart about Bart growing up good, and we've seen plenty of future episodes where that's just not true.
Yeah.
Because in those future episodes, Homer's alive.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So Homer being alive in the future makes Bart turn out bad, whereas if Homer would have died, he might have turned out good.
But the thing is, actually no, but the other thing is, in the Itchy and Scratchy, the movie episode, because Bart didn't see the movie, he turned out to be a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
So either that was a lie or that was a lie.
Well,
Anyways,
remember, Simpson multiverse.
Yeah, Simpsons multiverse. So now we go to the operating procedure and in the viewing area, which I don't think they do this anymore.
Maybe for college students, maybe.
Yeah, but not for like an actual audience. But
No.
there's a guy sleeping in the back row, and there's a couple making out, and there's a few people even eating popcorn. No Thin Mints though, or no Junior Mints.
Nope.
No Junior Mints. So I love how like Nick talks to the crowd and he's like, if something goes wrong, let's not get the law involved.
Yeah. It's like one hand washes the other. Oh, by the way.
It goes to wash his hands. Yeah. Washing your hands is very important when doing surgery. So now they're gonna put Homer under, and as they do that, Dr. Nick goes, "What the hell is that?" That's not what you want to hear when you're about to go under.
It's like, what? Huh?
So now we cut to the waiting room where Marge, Bart, and Maggie are waiting for the surgery to get over, and Patty and Selma try to hook Marge up with some guy named Andre.
Where did they find this guy? In the hospital, or did they go to a bar somewhere?
I was going to say, he looked like he was from like a disco bar.
Yeah. And Disco Stew, I don't think has been introduced yet, right?
I don't believe so.
All right.
So then we cut to Moe's Tavern, where Moe and the rest of the bar hold a moment of silence for Homer. And Barney, breaks the silence. He's like, how long was that? 6 seconds. Do we have to start over? Hell no.
Yeah. But at least they held out for 6 seconds for Homer.
Yeah, so now they cut to the Quickie Mart where Apu is like, man, I hope my snacks didn't cause this. Probably didn't help, but Homer's been unhealthy for a very long time. Yep. And some guy comes in and he's like, can I get some jerky? And Apu's like, you want some vodka with that?
It's like, why the hell not?
So now we cut back to the surgery and Dr. Nick is panicking. He's like, think, Dr. Nick, think back to med school. And we cut back to where he's at a party and he's drunk.
And he's like, I could write a prescription for anything, baby.
So then we cut back and because Lisa's read up on the surgery, she yells at Dr. Nick where to make the cut. He's like, thank you, little girl. Yeah. And probably the best part of this episode, because I always love quoting this, the knee bone's connected to the something. The something is connected to the red thing. The red thing's connected to my wristwatch.
Oh no.
I love it so much. Oh my god. I always try to remember this line too. Like if I'm like, I don't know, if this just randomly pops into my head. I love it. It's great. It's one of those iconic lines.
Yep.
In my memory anyways. So then we cut back and Marge and Bart are waiting and they bring Homer out and the operation was a complete success because of Lisa.
So Lisa actually exits the operating room with Dr. Nick.
Yeah, so somehow she got in there.
So she wasn't just up in the waiting room shouting instructions at Homer or
at
Dr. Nick.
So the other thing I did read with those amphitheater rooms, if they had the glass around them, those are supposed to be soundproof.
Oh.
Which would make sense because you don't want any distractions.
Well, that and you probably don't want people hearing the sound of bones crunching and saws going and stuff like that.
So I'm wondering, where did Dr. Nick perform the surgery?
Back alley theater something somewhere.
So yeah, there's no way Lisa should have been able to scream that at Dr. Nick to where to make the cut, but it's a cartoon. We'll let it slide. So, it's a complete success. Homer's sitting there and Dr. Nick, leaves and he's stopped by, oh, it's my old pal, Mr. McGregor, who has a leg for an arm and an arm for a leg.
Oh my God, it's so great. I love it. So great.
So then we, cut back to Homer and we get the little picture-in-picture with Homer's heart again, and it's doing the Simpsons theme song, and his heart stops and he gives the little So that's great. I love it so much. Yeah. It's a great end to the episode. I love I love this episode. It's heartwarming. It's got suspense. I mean, we all know Homer's not going to die. They're not going to kill Homer. And it's
not?
It's just so like, as I was watching this, I'm like, oh, I think I'm just going to give it a 4. But after going over it again and doing the jokes, and we got Dr. Nick and his funny voice, and yeah, there are some parts that are kind of odd, but it's just so good. The jokes are really, really funny. They do a very good job of setting this up. It's total nonstop action from start to finish. Like, I don't think there's really a time in this episode where it truly ever slows down.
No. It was
like, it's so good. I'm gonna give it a 5. Everything's coming up, Millhouse. It's just the something's connected to my wristwatch. Like, it's so good, and I love this episode. And it's, it makes you feel feelings, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely entered, I think, the era of the 5s.
Yes.
Like I think it's, I mean, I'm obviously watching all of them and telling you everything we think about, but I mean, God, from here on out, it's literally one of those things where I'm watching this episode and my wife's upstairs and she's on her way down, and I'm quoting something from the episode while I'm watching it, and she just gives me that look and smile and like, this is like one of your favorite episodes, isn't it? And I'm like, she's like, they're all your favorite episodes. And I'm like, yes, like at a certain point, like this is like the point in the Simpsons golden age where it's like, I know every line to every episode and I'm just quoting it left and right. I'm definitely giving it a 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse. I mean, this is just absolutely fantastic. And I love just everything Homer went through, the heart attack thing. It almost gives it a real aspect. And I know a lot of things, at least in these early seasons, have come from the writers' personal lives. So it'd be interesting to see, if something about this episode necessarily triggered the writing of it. Just to see. But yeah, I mean, I just the Abe Simpson, the family dynamic. I mean, just the opening with the cops thing. Just I mean, you almost think, okay, where's this episode going? Okay, you think maybe the whole episode's going to be about the Springfield police force, but
no,
it's not. So, it's really good. I mean, absolutely fantastic. I love Dr. Nick. He just makes everything that much funnier. So yeah, 5 for me. So let's do the next step where we give you our character profile. In this one, we've already done Dr. Nick. We've done a lot of the characters already.
Yes.
So this week, because the Moe's Tavern gave Homer the moment of silence, and we've already done Barney and Moe and everyone else, we're going to do the Barflies this week.
Okay.
So their identity is alcoholics who hang together at Moe's Tavern because everyone knows their name. I don't know their name.
I don't know their real names.
You're about to learn that. Their real names. Their real names are Sam, the guy with the hat, and Larry, the guy without hair.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Their favorite liquid is beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their favorite person is Moe because he's the one that serves them beer. Favorite pastime? Getting quietly toasted. Because that's all they do. They never speak. They just sit there at the bar.
Do we ever see them at like a job or anything? Or
I don't think so. We'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Favorite position? Head down behind a beer. Sitting on a stool, eyes nearly shut.
Well, when you're drunk, you're drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these guys must have more money than Homer makes because I mean, they definitely spend more money at Moe's, I would think.
Yeah.
So let's close it out by letting you know where you can find us. You can go to our social media pages, The Simpsons Did It podcast on Facebook. And I actually did create an @ location for our Facebook finally. So
nice.
People can actually start tagging us in things. So it's @The Simpsons Did It pod, just like our Instagram. So The Simpsons Did It pod is our Instagram. @The Simpsons Did It pod is our Facebook. Simpsons Did It PC is our Twitter. Please head over to YouTube as well if you decide to watch all of our old episodes on there. I love just checking it daily and seeing that people are listening to our old episodes on there. But be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Just because I like to know feedback on everything, and YouTube is a really great place to get feedback, and to know how many people are listening. So, and you can also know when next things are coming.
Yes.
And then if you would like to donate to our podcast, check us out on buymeacoffee.com/The Simpsons Did It. You know, throw us a few bucks here and there. We'll send you out some free swag. Lastly, next week is going to be really awesome. We got some Simpson voices coming. We won't tell you.
Yeah, we got some special guests coming our way.
I know it's gonna be awesome. So be sure to check out next week's episode where it'll be featuring a very, very funny guy who does a lot of Simpson voices. Mm-hmm. So until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
I'm your co-host Robert Skolansky,
and this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.